Former President Goodluck Jonathan has made a statement that is shaking the political table in Nigeria right now. He said that when he was president, the Boko Haram group actually chose Muhammadu Buhari as the person they wanted to represent them in a peace talk with the government. Yes, you heard that right. Jonathan said Boko Haram nominated Buhari to speak for them in negotiation. My people, this statement has caused a lot of talk everywhere, both online and offline. Before we go further, please take 1 second to like this video and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our new updates. Now, let's break this down slowly so everyone can understand. Jonathan said that when Boko Haram attacks were increasing during his time as president, his government tried different methods to restore peace. They set up committees, held meetings, and discussed how to reach those behind the attacks. In one of those committees, according to Jonathan, Boko Haram sent a message that they wanted Buhari, who was not president at the time, to be their representative in any discussion with the government. Jonathan said he found it surprising. He even said he thought that when Buhari later became president, he would have used that connection or understanding to finally bring peace, since the insurgents once trusted him enough to choose him as a negotiator. But according to Jonathan, that peace never came. He said Boko Haram remained active and the violence continued. He spoke about this while reflecting on his time as president and the challenges he faced, especially with the Chibok girls' abduction, something he said left a scar that will stay with him forever. Now, after Jonathan made that statement, people started reacting immediately. Some said he was only trying to clean up his image and explain his side of the story after many years. Others said maybe there was some truth to what he said and that Nigerians deserve to know more. But the most serious response came from Garba Shehu, who used to be a spokesperson for Buhari. He came out to say Jonathan's statement was completely false. According to him, Buhari was never chosen by Boko Haram and never acted as their representative. He even said that at one time, Boko Haram tried to harm Buhari, so it would not make sense for them to pick him as someone they trusted. Garba Shehu also said that Jonathan might be saying this now because of politics. He claimed Jonathan wanted to make Buhari look weak and maybe even prepare himself or his party for the next election season. He said there was never any record or evidence showing that Buhari was part of any negotiation. This disagreement has now become a big national discussion. People are asking who is telling the truth. If you are following this story, you can already see it's not just about the past, it's about how leaders are remembered. Jonathan wants Nigerians to remember that he tried different ways to end Boko Haram's violence, while Buhari's supporters want people to believe he was never close to that group in any way. And you know how politics in Nigeria works. When one side speaks, the other side will always respond. But the important thing here is that Nigerians are paying attention again to what really happened during those years. Now, let's take a moment to remember the background of this matter. When Jonathan was in power, between 2010 and 2015, Boko Haram was one of the biggest problems facing the country. Bombings in Abuja, Maiduguri, Yobe, Borno, the fear was everywhere. People were scared to travel, scared to go to markets, scared to send their children to school. Then the Chibok girls were kidnapped, and that brought global attention to Nigeria. Jonathan said his government tried everything from security operations to discussions just to bring peace. He said many people misunderstood what was happening because they didn't know how complex the situation was. He also said that those trying to bring down his government used the Boko Haram crisis as a weapon against him. That's part of why his new statement about Buhari has gotten so much attention. It touches old wounds. He said that back then, his team believed that if Boko Haram wanted to talk and they chose Buhari, it was worth exploring because the goal was peace, not politics. But that idea didn't move forward, and the violence went on. When Buhari later became president in 2015, many Nigerians believed he would crush Boko Haram quickly. He had the military background and people saw him as strong and disciplined. But even though there were military successes, Boko Haram did not completely disappear. New factions appeared, and attacks continued in some regions. Jonathan said that for him, it showed the problem was not just about leadership or negotiation. It was deeper. But the interesting part is that this story is not just about Boko Haram. It's also about how leaders shape their legacy and how Nigerians remember them.